How's it going, everybody? My name's the King Coda, and welcome to a new tier list video. Now, this tier list video is going to work a little bit different from how other tier lists and whatnot are, just because I feel like there's a little bit more nuance in how characters in Genshin Impact are, as opposed to like simple top tier to low tier. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of mix and matching that can do characters work good in specific comps, and I'm gonna kind of go over all that with you today. Alright, let's get right into it. So the way how this tier list is gonna work is we are gonna have basically four categories. We have high DPS and high support. We have high support but low DPS, and then over in the other corner we have high DPS and no support. And of course there'd be no support in being weak, but no, that would be Paimon, who doesn't do anything. I should have put Paimon over there. Anyways, so I'm gonna kind of show where I put the characters and explain it as we go along. So first and foremost is one that kind of needs a little bit of talking about, and that's Zhang Li. Now right now, Zhang Li is one of the highest supporting characters in the game. He freezes targets in place while also being able to give you a shield at a really quick cooldown. Right now, his damage isn't as high as it will be when 1.3 comes out and they buff him. When they buff him, I'm expecting him to go a lot higher on the DPS bar from where he is right now. But right now, he's kind of low. He's where you would put, you know, just a straight up good support. Then we have Amber. And Amber is in need of a little help. Now, she does have a taunt with her Bundleberry, and her Q ability, her ultimate, does set the ground on fire and can be set off, and then you can swap to other characters, so she has some support. The issue is that she doesn't do as much damage unless you put a lot of dedication into making her do damage. I know there are videos of her hitting for insanely high damage, but understand that is her with maxed out talents, with plus 20 artifacts, all 5 artifacts plus 20, and a level 90 bow while being level 90 herself. Not everyone can do that with Amber, and to make matters worse, a lot of the good damage you can get out of Amber comes from constellations, which I'm not taking into account for this list. This is just the characters as they are. And right now, I think they need to do something to help Amber, because she's the first character you get in the game, and she's the worst character currently in the game. Then we got Mona. Mona is a little bit weaker than somebody like Zhang Li by default. But she also has a taunt, as well as increasing your damage output with her Q. She's a very good supporting character. With the right build, she could even be a DPS, but that, of course, takes some constellations and some building. Similar to Kaya. Right off the bat, Kaya is a phenomenal support character that you get access to for the cryo. And he has some pretty good damage capabilities at the later tiers and with a couple constellations. Pretty all-around good character. I feel like he's kind of mid, though, when compared to some of the other characters you can get. Speaking of being mid, I put the Traveler exactly in the center. This is because they can take over so many different classes. As the game goes on, they will get more and more different elements, and I feel like because of that, they are kind of in every category. Right now, admittedly, the Traveler is kind of weak. The Anemo Traveler is the weakest Anemo character in the game, and has a little bit juddery with their ult carrying enemies away and whatnot. It's not all that useful. The Geo Traveler is a little bit better, but Geo is a little bit weak. Luckily, Geo's getting a buff, and that'll kind of raise that up. But with things like the Pyro Traveler, the Electric Traveler, the Water Traveler, those could be like pure DPS with no support capability whatsoever, or they could be pure support with no DPS. You never know, so they're in the center. Now, Sucrose is one that can become a very powerful DPS with some constellations and with some work, but by default I'm putting her a little low on the DPS bar, about halfway, but she's got some great support. Honestly, she could be even farther on the bar of support, but I feel like that's a pretty good spot for her. She's a great Animo user to put on your team, and that's about all there is to it. Xingxi, or whatever the fuck his name is a little bit weaker in my opinion, but he also has some great support capabilities. His E raises your defense, his Q, attacking alongside you, can help apply the Hydro status, which not many Hydro characters are in the game. He's alright. Not the best, but he's alright. Venti is very good. He is one of the best CC capable characters there is in the game, as well as having extremely high damage potentials with the right build. I think Venti is a fantastic character. If they run his banner, definitely try and pick him up. Razor is one of the first characters that has no support characteristics on the list. He does apply the Electro status, I guess, but it wears off really quickly with his attack. But his damage output is insane. With constellations, he can become one of the highest damaging characters in the game, and by default, you can use him at C0, and he'll still be an amazing DPS. Chi-Chi is an amazing healer, one of the best supports in the game, bar none. The way that she can just put a talisman on a target without you having your E or your Q up, you can auto attack with her, put a talisman, and still be able to get healing. No other character really gives you that kind of flexibility. If they don't have their abilities, you don't have healing with most characters. Kiki does build attack for her healing, but oddly enough, I have like full attack artifacts and everything built on her, and she has like no attack whatsoever. She just does not get attack. So Ninguang is a DPS, but she's also Geo, so she's a little weak because Geo doesn't have any offensive capabilities, but she doesn't have a lot of support in her kit. I guess she puts out the shield thing, which can buff other Geo users with constellations. She is in a kind of a weird spot. Once the Geo buffs come in, though, I believe her DPS capabilities will go up higher, so she will be a little bit higher up on the list in the future. Lisa, the first waifu of the game. I'm very sad to say that she's a little weak, even whenever you build her out properly. There is a way you can use her to where you don't charge her attack and you spam it, but then you're missing out on damage potential, I feel, from that. Her support is also kind of on the weak side. She's not as bad as Amber, but it's not... she's just not up there yet. Honestly, somebody in need of a buff. Jean is a healer that you can also use as your main DPS if you would like, especially with constellations that lower enemies' resistance to Animo. Honestly, I don't like Jean. A lot of people don't like Jean, but a lot of people do like Jean. Take her as you want. She's kind of middling on DPS and kind of high on support because she's a healer, and she can help buff other Animo characters if you get lucky enough to get a bunch of her. Kaching is an interesting one. Electro damage, and I could be wrong with this, Electro, much like Animo, scales based on level, so it doesn't have as much power that you can build into it as other elements. Because of this, even though Kaching is a fantastic DPS, Electro is in need of a slight buff, just a slight buff to be equal with Pyro or Hydro or something. And Kaching's speed is fantastic, but her strongest utility is using charge attacks with her, which will drain you of stamina faster than anything else. You can do a lot with Kaching. She's an amazing unit, but not like top tier. Definitely don't feel bad if you got her. Don't feel bad if you got any character. You can beat every part of the game with any character, even Amber. But I feel like she's a little middling as a DPS. Fischl is one of the best support units in the game. She has great potential DPS with her rapid fire bow strikes, and her Oz is on such a low cooldown. Even though it's Electro, which has a lot of the same problems with Kaching, you can trigger it so much quicker and faster, and it stays on the field, so you can swap over to the higher damaging Pyro or Hydro units and still get the benefit of Oz. Diluc just sets things on fire, and sometimes that's actually just a demerit for you. Because you'll be in the grass, and you'll be on fire. But, that being said, he does have extremely high damage potential, especially with Constellations. Hoo boy. The more you use Diluc, though, the more you feel like it's a little stale. His combat loop is a combo between using a normal attack, a elemental skill, normal attack, elemental skill, normal attack, elemental skill. And that's it. That's a combo. You use that combo. When Bird is ready, you fire Bird. Batman is a little boring, but let's move on. One good combo with him is Chongyun. Chongyun applies a cryo status, so I have him a little bit lower on support capabilities than some of the other great supports. He is fantastic, but some characters, like say Razor, don't want you to turn him to cryo because he does physical damage. And now he's doing cryo damage, which is potatoes. He also has some pretty good damage capabilities himself, but from what I've seen based on numbers, I mean, even with a great amount of investment, you could take that investment, put into some other characters, and get more out of them. As a support, though, he's fantastic. Beidou has some of the best DPS in the game potential if the enemies could fucking attack you. So many times, though, and part of the reason why I stopped playing Beidou to go and play other characters, because I was getting bored of me standing around, holding out my sword, expecting the hill churl to attack me, and then they don't, and I waste my E doing little damage and have to whack at them for a little bit to kill them. But when that happens, when a boss that you know is going to hit you or something, and you perfect counter that, and you send that damage back, there is no more rewarding character in this game than Beidou. Definitely, if you got a Beidou, she's worth raising up as a DPS. She's also a fantastic support. Being able to swap to her to do a quick counter and then swap back to your main DPS, or using her Q, which will stay on the field even while you swap characters. It's great. If they buff character enemy AI to actually attack you every now and then, I'm definitely going to swap back to playing my Beidou, because I do love my Beidou. Barbara is a support that is a little bit worse than Kiki in about every regard, except for she does Hydro, which I guess is very good if you want to break the fire plant. She is kind of meh, in my opinion, but you do you. She's very adorable, though, as a character. They just released a short where she talks to you, and it's cute. I just wish she was better in the game. She's good in the new Spiral Abyss. There's floors that afflict you with Electro, and it takes away your ultimate. But with her little spin thing setting you on water, you cause an elemental reaction on yourself that removes the Electro that's letting you keep your ultimate. So she's got a use. Zhang Ling is, in my opinion, the best support in the game. I also find her slightly annoying. So the problem with Zhang Ling is Gubo stays where he is, and the enemies like to dodge around you and whack you and charge at you, and Gubo winds up being out of range all the time. But when it works, it works. Especially at C6, Zhang Ling becomes one of the best fire supports in the game, buffing up everyone's pyro damage by that 15%. She's a fantastic support to use alongside any fire character, And if you get the Crescent Pike, yes, the Blacksmith Sphere, she can also become one of the strongest DPS in the game. It's really crazy. Klee likes to set shit on fire, and again, maybe that's you sometimes. Technically, the bombs she leaves behind when the big bear bounces a couple times, it explodes in a bunch of little bombs, and technically those stay on the field and can be sucked up by animal characters, but it's not all that efficient. Honestly, she's just a DPS. You just keep her on the field. The best part about her is if you get her to C4, when you swap characters, you do get an explosion during her ult, but if you don't have that and you swap characters, you don't get your ult damage at all. So don't swap characters if you're using her ult, and blow shit up, I guess. Noelle is a healing tank DPS. Her DPS potential is actually really high for very brief windows when both her Q and her E ability are active at the same time with constellations. If you don't have constellations on Noelle, honestly, she's getting close to that box that nobody's in, where she doesn't have a lot of support or damage. But with constellations, which I don't know about you, but it's very easy to get Noelle constellations for some reason. It's about like 4 rate-up banners. She does pretty good damage and can help keep your team alive really well. Zhao is the new character coming out, which I want to preface. I'm just going off of rumors. Maybe he works different when he's live. But from what people have said, he's a DPS. He's an Anemo DPS that likes to jump up and stab down, and then jump back up and then stab back down. And that's basically his whole kit. He does a lot of damage, but he needs to be supported as opposed to giving any support to anyone else. Diona is, in my opinion, pretty close to Kiki as in regards to overall support capability. She doesn't have a heal aside from her Q. So if her ult is not up, you're gonna die. But her E gives you a shield, which also in the current Spyro Abyss will remove that Electro status, enabling you to keep going with your ultimates. In that regard, she's one of the most viable characters right now in Spiral Abyss. And she's very cute. So, Ganyu is fucking broken, and they are in danger of ruining this game. She has some of the highest single unit potential damage out of anyone else in the game. At C0. Also, her support capabilities are really strong. She has a taunt and a very large radius, and very long-lasting, honestly, ice attack that happens, that also buffs your cryo damage. What? What are you thinking, Mihoyo? She is extremely strong. If you have her, use her. Use her as a support, use her as your main DPS. I use her as an off DPS on my team, and Jinyan. Jinyan is currently my favorite character to play in the game. She's a great sword wielder, which is one of my favorite classes currently that's out. And her physical damage capabilities are extremely high. Not as high as Razor's, but she also offers a lot of support as opposed to Razor. As a matter of fact, she can support Razor in an amazing way by buffing, reducing the physical resistance of the enemy that you're fighting. And buffing your own damage. Her ultimate always hits a crit, I believe, for her second constellation, which, even if you don't have, it does a lot of damage. The main problem with my Jinyan is I can't get any artifact pieces for her. But other than that, she's a fantastic character, and I think she's worth building as a support, as a DPS, however you want to use her. Then we got Child, who is the Water Dillick. And that's about all I have to say about that. At least you won't set yourself on fire. And there's one character left that we have to mention. The mascot of my stream. The god himself, Benny. Benny can do everything. Benny is immortal. Don't fucks with Benny. He has one of the best heals in the game. It only heals you up to 70%, but it ticks like crazy. And if you get healed up to 70%, it gives you a damage buff. Or if you get his constellations, it doesn't matter if he's got a damage buff. You're gonna, or if you're healed, you're gonna get the damage buff anyways. Benny can also be a DPS, and he's really good at it for a pyro character. For a 4-star character, Benny is ridiculous. Now, is he Ganyu levels of broken? No, but for a 4-star? Are you kidding me? He puts some 5 stars to shame. What is he? There's only one problem with the god himself, and that is I C6'd mine, and I can't use him on half the teams I want to, so he's fucking trash. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you understand kind of how some characters work now when you're looking to build a team. I get asked a lot on twitch.tv/thekingcoda, is this a good team comp, or what should I build this character for, or whatnot. And this is kind of generally how I see them. You want to build out supports, and you want to build out DPS. It's ideal that you would have a DPS on your team that's one of these pure, hard-hitting, raw DPS. A DPS on your team that has some of the support capabilities of, say, like a Jinyan or a Albedo. And then 2 supports that can really help you out. A healer, and then maybe somebody like Zhang Ling or somebody that can, help apply statuses that the other your 2 DPS can then react off of. And that's basically all there is to it. What do you think of this tier list? Is there anybody that you think deserves to be in a different spot? Did I miss somebody? Because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried I might have. Let me know in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.